All right, so I think we can start officially. My name is Yevgen Leshov. I'm Ukrainian from Poland. I'm Microsoft MVP, CCM, and Intune in enterprise mobility category. I have about 9 years of experience with Configuration Manager and 6 years experience with Intune. And in total, I have about 16 years of experience. I do projects for enterprise customers, everything around Configuration Manager and Intune. High-level design, pre-sales activities, configuration, installation, troubleshooting, documentation, learning sessions, so really everything. And let me tell you about the old way. I think if you guys have some experience with Configuration Manager or maybe MDT, you know how you deploy your operating systems now. Yeah? The old way is you prepare a reference image. Sorry, I will speak quickly. So if you do not understand something or catch something, just let me know, because we really need to cover a lot of information. So the old way, you have your clean image or vanilla image, or how you call it. Yeah, you downloaded it from Microsoft website. Then you created a sequence with 100 steps or 200 steps. Yeah, you install, you add applications, scripts, different customization, drivers, etc., 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 and then you deploy this image to your end user computer. So it takes maybe 1 or 2 hours. So it depends on the size of the reference image. It can be 5 gigs or maybe 25 gigs. In my experience, I had a 30 gigs reference image. Yeah, and what does it mean? Time means money. Yeah, so you do a lot of work. It requires a lot of time, and in fact, at the end, it requires a lot of money. Yeah. The new way, I think, is really good way. So what you do nothing. You just sit and drink coffee, or what you prefer, I don't know, wine, beer, maybe vodka. So, all right. So what you do nothing, really. Really, you do nothing. You do not touch end user device. You do not unpack box with a new laptop. You do not connect this laptop to local network. You do not configure this laptop. You do not pack this laptop, and you do not send this laptop to the end user. So you do nothing. Yeah. How it works? Yeah, I will tell you a bit more details later. So if you have a vendor which prepares for you your hardware, I don't know, desktops or laptops, yeah, vendor installs Windows on this computer and sends this package or packages, yeah, to your remote office, to another city or another maybe country or on another continent. Yeah. User unpacks this device, provides his credentials like user1, company.com, password 123, next, finish, and that's it. Yeah. So you do not deploy this computer. So that's what I wanted to say. And next 53 minutes, I will talk about this new way, how to deploy your computers. Device lifecycle management. Yeah. So your vendor sends this computer to end user device. After, I don't know, 10, 5, 30 minutes, device is ready for production use. So user provides his credentials, next, finish, and device is ready. End user uses this device daily, weekly, monthly, I don't know, it doesn't matter. Yeah. And you manage this device. So you can deploy with Intune policies, different configurations, scripts, and administrative templates, applications, updates, so really everything. Yeah, it means management. If device stops working for some reasons, and something happened, what you do, you go to settings, you click reset, yeah, and device is coming back to a previous state, yeah, to OB state. So then again, you need to choose your region, your keyboard, second keyboard, and that's it. Yeah, and device is ready again. Or maybe your user leaves the company, right? Leaves the company, and you need to give this device to another user. So you go to settings, you click reset, device is coming back to a previous state, and that's it. So that's how it works. And then retirement phase. Yeah. That's how the modern device lifecycle management looks like with Autopilot and Intune. So the transformation, your vendor provides you or maybe your end user directly. So that's the idea of Autopilot, to sense your end users, your laptops or desktops, doesn't matter, with OEM optimized Windows 10. Then you deploy, you do not deploy, you do not click, when the computer is ready for deploying. So you did it previously just once, but you can deploy software, you can deploy settings, updates, you can configure features, and user data is coming back when, if we use OneDrive, I will talk about that a bit later, and device is ready for productive use. Windows Autopilot configuration is very simple. Windows Autopilot is a cloud-based service, so what you need to have is only internet connection and web console, and that's it. So, of course, you need to have Intune and Azure Active Directory, because there is no sense if you do not use Intune 100%. So it's like on-premise Active Directory and group policies. So you can join your computer, technically, you can join your computer to on-premise Active Directory. But what's the sense if you do not use security groups, if you do not share permissions on folders, if you do not configure GPOs, etc. So it means technically you can join your computer to on-premise Active Directory, but you do not manage these computers. If you do not use group policy settings, it makes no sense. The same situation here. If you do not have Intune, you need to have Intune, but if you do not use Intune, there is no sense just to add your computer to Azure AD. And what's next? What's the next step? You need to manage this computer. So 3 simple steps. You need to register this device. So you need to make this device, let's say, recognizable as Autopilot device. I will explain everything later. Then you need to assign Autopilot profile to this device, and then you need to ship the device to the user. It can be done by you or by your hardware vendor. How you can configure Windows Autopilot? So you can use a few consoles: Microsoft Store for Business, Partner Center, Microsoft 365 Business. But the good way to use Autopilot is using Microsoft Intune console. It calls Azure Intune. So if you have a lot of experience with Intune, maybe you remember Intune Classic, Intune Silverlight, what you can use for Windows 7 management. But if you are talking about Windows 10 management, we call it Azure Intune, and you can use this console to manage your Autopilot and Intune settings as well. First step: how to register your device. So what is the best way to do a job? Right, to ask someone to do your job. I told you 5 minutes before that what you need to do, you need to just drink coffee or wine, or maybe wine or then coffee, and that's it. So you need to contact your hardware vendor and say, hey, we want to use Autopilot, please help us, please do it for us for free, or it can be payable, but it doesn't matter. And then you just configure once Intune policies and or Autopilot profiles, and you do nothing. So your hardware manufacturer or hardware vendor will do for you. So he will register your devices for Autopilot. So he will do it for you. So he will automatically add new devices to your Azure tenant. These devices can be, let's say, can be associated for a specific group, based on a device tag or based on a purchase order. If, for example, if you open a new office in another country, you understand that you need to buy 50 new laptops for this country, for this office. And you have some purchase order, specific information that, and then you can create a group in Azure Active Directory with these computers only for this specific office. And then you can deploy different settings for different groups. If you have Windows 10 devices that already enrolled to Intune, so what can you do? You can convert them to autopilot devices. For end user, it means nothing, no major changes, really nothing. But then, if you need to reset this device and give, so just remember, yeah, what I told you about device lifecycle. Yeah, you cannot do it with you cannot do it for managed device by Intune. Yeah. You need to do it for, you can do it for autopilot device. Yeah. When you click reset, and then you reboot your computer, and you see OB process. Yeah. You need to provide again credentials. You need to choose your region. What else? Keyboard and second keyboard. Yeah, and that's it. So bless you. So what you can do? You can create autopilot profile and say, hey, if I manage devices with Intune, convert all of these devices to autopilot devices. You can still manage these devices with Intune, so you do exactly the same, but these devices will be recognizable as autopilot devices. If you manage your devices with Configuration Manager, you can enable co-management. Yeah, co-management means the device will be managed by two management systems, by Intune and by Autopilot. Oh, sorry, by Intune and by Configuration Manager. And then if you manage this device by Intune, it means you can convert these devices to Autopilot profile. Is it clear, guys, what I say here? Everything's clear? Not yet? Okay. I have a lot of demos, yeah, and you will see how it works from technical side. Also, you can register your devices manually. For example, your hardware vendor cannot, for some reasons, I don't know why, but cannot upload this information on behalf of you to Autopilot, but he can send you an information about this device. Yeah, it's just a CSV file that contains a unique specific information about this device or devices, like serial number, Windows product ID, and hardware hash. Optionally, this information can contain also order ID. But what we need to have serial number, Windows product ID, and hardware hash. Or maybe you want to play with Autopilot to check which settings you can configure and how this scenario works, etc., etc., and to have a virtual machine. Yeah, you don't. In this case, if you have your Hyper-V host with virtual machines, and you want to play with Autopilot, you cannot contact your vendor and say, "Hey, please send me a CSV file, yeah, with hardware hashes." So you need to do it manually. So you need to download a PowerShell script from the internet. You need to run this PowerShell script on your Windows 10 computer. Yeah. For example, what I do for my demos for different customers. So I just create a virtual machine. I leave it on OB configuration. Yeah. So when it's the latest step before the device is ready, right? When you provide your credentials and when you choose your region and keyboard. Yeah. So I leave this virtual machine. I open a command line. I run this PowerShell script. This PowerShell script generates CSV file for this specific computer with specific information, with a unique information. Then I upload manually. I go to Autopilot and I just click browse and choose this file, and that's it. Yeah, and then this device will be recognizable as Autopilot device. Is it clear? Okay. Also, what does it mean? First of all, you need to use Windows 10 1703 as minimum, 1703 or higher. So it doesn't work for, I don't know, for 1607 or 1511. Yeah. So just for Windows 10 1703. What also does it mean? Does it mean that every computer with Windows 10 1703 contacts Autopilot? Yes, it does. Every computer with Windows 10 contacts Autopilot if you have an internet network. And why do you ask your vendors to upload this information to your Autopilot, or why do you do it manually? So you need to, let's say, create a connection between your unique Azure tenant and Windows 10 1703 computer. Yeah. And when computer contacts to Autopilot service. It's just cloud service. When computer contacts to Autopilot service, computer tries to check which unique Azure tenant he must belong to, right? If you're, I don't know, a home user, you just bought a new laptop, you do not have, I don't know, Office 365 credentials, you do not have Autopilot, so you don't do it. Your computer contacts to Autopilot, say, hey, you know, I couldn't find on in Autopilot this cloud service or this registration service, I couldn't find information about myself. I do not understand on which tenant I must belong to. So you just go to OB process. Yeah, you provide your credentials, or maybe you just don't want to provide credentials. You add your home computer to a work group, right? And that's it. Okay, summary. So your partner can do it for you through OEM API or using Partner Center. So you need to give him some permissions. Or if you do it by yourself, so you can go to Microsoft Intune Web Console. Then you need to assign. Second step, you need to assign Autopilot profile. You cannot. I can't say you can configure devices with Autopilot, because you can configure your devices with Azure Intune. No, not with Autopilot. Autopilot is a service for provisioning, for deploying a computer, not for configuring. Yeah, and that's all of settings you can configure. You see, you can show or hide end user questions. Yeah? You can configure if you want to show or hide end user license agreement, show or hide privacy settings, hide change account options. Then you specify if this user who provides credentials during OBE will be a local admin or just a standard admin. And also you can apply a network template, a name template with some variables, yeah, like serial number or some random numbers, and that's it. So, and also you specify here if it will be a user-driven mode or self-deploying mode, and if computer will be joined to Azure Active Directory or to on-premise Active Directory and Azure Active Directory. So we call it hybrid Azure AD join. I will explain it later. So, and that's it. Yeah, Autopilot profile is just a few clicks. Yeah, nothing special. And then you need to assign this Autopilot profile to a group of users, so that's why, to a group of your devices. So that's why you need to upload information about these computers before creating and deploying Autopilot profile. So you can create one or more Azure AD groups, and this device and this group can be, let's say, static, not a static, but assigned. Yeah, or dynamic. Assigned means you manually add to a specific group, you add a specific computer, or you can create a dynamic group based on some query for all Autopilot device, or different groups for different countries, or different groups for different offices, based on purchase order ID or device tag. How to create a group for all Autopilot devices? So you go to Azure Active Directory, group type security, you provide a name for this group. Membership type is dynamic, dynamic device, not assigned. And then you passed a rule. I wanted to pause. It was a good idea. All right. Okay, let's continue. What I wanted to show you, every device what is provisioned or what is deployed with Autopilot has a unique attribute, ZTD ID. Yeah, and you create a autopilot group based on this attribute. Yeah, and this group will contain all of your autopilot devices. Or you can create a dynamic Azure AD group based on order AD. So you go to advanced rule and you provide very simple query. And then you can check members of this group here. And how to assign your profile. So you create a profile and you see join type is as Azure AD joined. We will talk about profiles later. So you created a profile, you created Azure AD group, then you select this group, you choose this group, and that's it. And after assignment, you can ship this device to your end user, to a remote office. Yeah. Or maybe you can ask your vendor to do it for you. Okay, flow one more time, if previous slides were not very clear for you. So first of all, you need to add device to autopilot deployment service. Then you need to sync your devices or devices between autopilot and Intune. So you can do it manually. You have a button sync. You can click this button and devices will be automatically synced to Intune, or you can just wait and it will be done automatically. So every 12 hours. Then you create Azure AD. Then automatically Azure AD object for this device will be created, and this device will be enrolled to Intune. So what does it mean? Yeah, Azure AD object. If you do not see this device in Azure AD, you cannot manage this device. But if you have this device in Azure AD, yeah, so you can deploy, for example, Intune policies on this device, and it will work. Yeah. Then your Azure AD dynamic group membership will be updated automatically if you have a dynamic group, and then you can assign autopilot profile based on group assignments. All right, what's next? Yeah, autopilot overview, how it works. Yeah. You are IT admin, you create Windows Autopilot profile. Autopilot profile is synced between Intune and Autopilot. Your hardware vendor uploads information about devices, what you want to buy or what you bought already. This information is synced between Autopilot and Intune, and your vendor ships this device or devices, yeah, to your end users. End user unpacks box. You know, users like a smell of a new hardware. Yeah, they like to do it. I believe I cannot say for about all of us, but I like to unpack a new hardware. You know, I do some electronic devices. Yeah, do it by myself. And user does it by himself. Just unpacks a box, connects this box to connects this laptop to Wi-Fi. For example, if he sits at home to a home Wi-Fi, he provides his credentials. Computer connects. Computer checks if he belongs to a specific unique Azure tenant, and if it works, so then this device can be automatically joined to Azure Active Directory, and then you can deploy all of your policies, settings, updates, scripts, applications to this device. Licensing. So what you need to have Azure AD Premium, yeah, P1 or P2, and Intune subscription. Or maybe if you don't use Intune as MDM solution, you need to have another MDM solution. You also can use EMS licenses or Microsoft 365 licenses. one-time configuration tasks. So what you need to do? You need to configure automatic MDM enrollment. What does it mean? So if you join your computer to Azure Active Directory, this computer can be automatically enrolled to Intune. If this computer can be enrolled to Intune, it means this computer can be managed by Intune, right? You can configure company branding, so like upload your logo, your company logo. You can provide some helpful information for the end user, like if you have some problems, please contact please contact this phone number. And you need to be sure that users can join devices to Azure Active Directory. So you can do it you can enable it for all users or for a specific group of users. Maybe not of all your users can join devices to Azure Active Directory. In Intune, you need to enable enrollment status page. I will show you it later. Yeah. You need to test, I don't know, 1, 2, 5, 10 times that it works, that the whole process works from A to Z. So then it means that you can enroll devices and Intune, and this device will download all required policies from Intune. And that's it. Okay, enrollment status page. Yeah, I told about that a few seconds ago. Enrollment status page, it's a part of OBE process. Yeah, when you provide your credentials, when you choose your region, keyboard, second keyboard, if you need, and then if this device is autopilot device, yeah, this device is joined to Azure AD, and if device is joined to Azure AD, it means that device can download all required policies like settings, scripts, applications, etc., etc. And you can see the progress of downloading all of that, like 5 of 10 applications were installed. So you understand as an end user that you need to wait a bit more to install other 5 applications. Yeah. If you deploy, I don't know, 10 Wi-Fi profiles, you see that 2 Wi-Fi profiles were installed, 2 of 10, and you need to wait to install 8 of other Wi-Fi profiles. So you need to have 1803 as minimum. Yeah. If you use, for example, 1703, you will not see this progress. But I mean, technically it will work, but you just will not see this enrollment status page. You need to have Azure AD Premium and Microsoft Intune. Scenarios. The very first and the very basic scenario is you can join this computer to Azure Active Directory. One more time, if you can join computer to Azure AD, you can enroll this computer to Intune. If you can do it, it means you can manage this computer with Intune. So that's the idea. Yeah? And you can do it with Autopilot. Yeah? It calls user-driven mode. When user provides his login, password, next, finish, and computer downloads a policy from the internet. And you, as a system administrator or as a system engineer, you do nothing. Yeah? Because every step, every configuration step is done by end user. You even do not know what he does, right? He just provides his credentials. So you don't need to care about that. Next scenario is scenario that is available in 1809 and later. Yeah, it's a self-deploying mode, so you don't need to provide credentials. So I will talk about that later. So it's good for kiosks in airports, for example, or for schools, for universities, when you do not have a specific user and you cannot assign a device for a specific user like you do for a commercial company. Next scenario is user-driven mode with Hybrid Azure AD join. For some cases, you want to implement this scenario, which means you want to manage these computers by on-premise Active Directory and group policies, and Azure Active Directory and Intune policies. Yeah. And the latest scenario is Windows Autopilot for existing devices. I will cover that later. So it means that you can migrate, not upgrade, but migrate your computer from Windows 7 to Windows 10 with Autopilot and with Configuration Manager. So it's a big topic. I hope I have enough time to cover that. Okay, user-driven mode, Windows 7 sorry, Windows 10 1703, Azure AD Premium, and Intune. So what you need to do, so device needs to be connected to internet, not to a corporate network, but to internet. Yeah. You need to register this device to Windows Intune. You need to assign autopilot profile to this computer, and then you need to boot this device, and that's it. I mean, if you did three first steps, the latest step, the fourth step can be done by end user. So if you know that everything is ready from your side, yeah, you just ship this device to end user. You even do not touch this computer manually. You do not need to unpack it. You just ship a closed box to the end user in a remote office. He unpacks this computer, and Autopilot and Intune already know about this computer. And that's it. Okay. Okay, OB process. I talked about that a lot, so let's see how it works. What user does, he just provides his credentials, next, finish. And that's it. So we have a few steps: device preparation, device setup, like downloading applications, policies, scripts, etc., and joining this device to Azure AD. For a real demo, it could take, I don't know, 15-20 minutes, right? So that's why I have recorded demos. You see, we are syncing our files from OneDrive for Business, and device is ready for productive use. So user has all applications that were downloaded and installed from Intune, like Office 365, PowerShell scripts, and 7-zip, whatever you, I don't know, even Acrobat Reader or Acrobat Pro. He has all the documents from OneDrive, and that's it. What you did as a system engineer? Nothing. Yeah, everything was done by end user. So that's the idea of Autopilot. Is it clear? Because it's very important. It's the main idea of this session, yeah, to show that you need to do nothing with end user device. Hybrid Azure AD join. You need to have 1809, not 1703, but 1809. Yeah, Azure AD Premium and Microsoft Intune. So you need to set up ODG connector, so it's offline domain join. If you're experienced Active Directory engineers, you guys know how it works. It's nothing new here, no new technologies, yeah, from the future. So really, nothing new. It's just offline domain join. You have offline domain join connector from on-premise Active Directory to Intune. Your device must be connected to a corporate network, not to a public network like Wi-Fi, but to a corporate network. You need to register your device with Windows Autopilot, and you need to create Autopilot profile, which says this device must be joined not to Azure AD, but to Hybrid Azure AD, which means local Active Directory and Azure Active Directory, both. And then you boot this device. So how it works? Your employee, your end user, unpacks a box with a new laptop. Yeah, he boots this device. This device contacts to our Autopilot deployment service and sends this hardware ID, this unique information. Yeah. Oops. Autopilot answers with Autopilot profile, and then computer goes to Intune for Intune enrollment. Oh, I have some problems with clicker. Okay. Intune contacts to your on-premise Active Directory, yeah, with offline domain join connector. And this connector generates, we call it offline domain join blobs, this specific text files, yeah, for a specific computer. Computer receives this offline domain join information and join as well to a local Active Directory. Yeah, not only to Azure AD and Intune, but to local Active Directory as well, and receives policies, group policies from local Active Directory. So, and in this case, computer will have, let's say, two management systems. Yeah, Intune with Intune settings and Active Directory with group policies. So that's how it works. Again, OB process. So it's what you see when you boot your device first time. User provides his corporate credentials, yeah, not his Office 365 credentials. Device needs a reboot. We see the same status, enrollment status page. Yeah, in this case, computer is downloading policies from Intune, and then you see we provide our credentials for a local domain. Okay. Self-deploying mode. We need to use, we need to have 1809, Azure AD Premium, Intune, and TPM 2.0, because in this case, we do not provide the user credentials, right? So we need to, in some way, authenticate this computer. So that's why we need to have TPM, this module. I hope you know what TPM is. Okay. So device connected to internet, you register your device, you assign autopilot profile for a, not for a user-driven mode, because we don't need to have a user. In this case, yeah, when we prepare, I don't know, a kiosk for airport, for self-registration, for example, or when we prepare computers for our students, yeah. So we do not have end user. We cannot assign this computer to a specific user. So that's why we need to have TPM, yeah, and we need to create another type of autopilot profile for a self-deploying mode, and we boot this device. Yeah. Okay, I explained when it can be useful. So design notes why this scenario was designed. So when you need to set up devices like that, like kiosks, for example, when you do not have a specific user, when you do not have a keyboard and you cannot provide the credentials, right? So no keyboard, no credentials. Yeah. And walk up and use scenario. So when someone can come, just take a laptop and do some job. As you see, account, we do not provide credentials. So everything is configured, and we didn't choose region, settings, keyboard, second keyboard, and account. So we just boot a device. That's all what we need to do. Is it clear? And difference between two scenarios. Sorry, three scenarios. Yeah. Azure AD, Hybrid Azure AD, and self-deploying for kiosks. Yeah. And then you can use, for example, web pages. Windows Autopilot for existing device. Okay, it's very big scenario, big topic. So, and how it works together. Yeah. OneDrive, Active Directory, Configuration Manager, Intune, Autopilot, etc. So let's imagine we have a Windows 7 device and we want to use the same hardware for Windows 10. Yeah. So what we do usually with Configuration Manager or with other deployment systems, maybe with MDT, we have a sequence in-place upgrade when you want to upgrade your computer from Windows 7 to Windows 10, and we need to keep all the user data on the computer, etc. In some cases, we don't need to have it. We don't want to keep a user data. We just want to wipe device, wipe and load scenario, just format our disk. And also, we want to use Autopilot, because if we do not use Autopilot, we cannot use this reset scenario. Yeah, we cannot go to settings and say, hey, I want to reset this device and give this device to another user. Yeah. So what we do, we need to install OneDrive client on our Windows 7 computer. Yeah, and also, if you remember, for Autopilot and for Intune, we need to, okay, not for Autopilot and Intune, but for Autopilot, we need to have Windows 10 1703. So if you want to use our Windows 7 computers, we want to register them with Autopilot, we cannot do it. That's it. Yeah. We cannot collect hardware hashes from Windows 7 computers, only from 1703 and higher. Yeah. So how it works? We need to install OneDrive client on our computer. We need to force user to migrate all the data from a local drive to OneDrive for business, and user can work on it for 1 hour before migration, for 1 week, or for half a year. So he just, in fact, will use OneDrive for business. Then we go to our deployment system like Configuration Manager, maybe if you're not so rich to use SCCM, yeah, you can do it with MDT. Maybe if you're a very small company. So you create a test sequence step. So you create a very basic test sequence with maybe just 10 steps. And with PowerShell, you can convert your Autopilot profile to a specific text file. And at the end of your test sequence, you apply this text file with it's a JSON file, yeah, which contains a specific information. This information was just exported from Autopilot profile. And computer understands that at the end of the process, he needs to contact to Autopilot, to Intune, and do the same. Yeah. So, again, you migrated all the data to OneDrive for business. You wipe and load your computer, so you just remove everything. Yeah, you format your Windows 7 disk. You install a Windows 10, and at the end, user goes through this OBE process. Yeah, the same. Do you know what it means? Huh? It's not a Windows 7, it's a Windows 7 end support date. After January 14, next year, so it's about 1 year. Yeah, you have 1 year to migrate all of your Windows 7 computers, and I still have customers with Windows 7, and companies from non-profit companies with 200 computers to a big banks with 100,000 computers with Windows 7. And Windows 7 is still a corporate operating system for some companies. Yeah. So you have 1 year. So that's why, I mean, what was the sense to talk about that? Yeah, Windows 7 to Windows 10 migration with Autopilot, OneDrive, Intune, and Configuration Manager. Yeah. Because in 1 year, Windows 7 won't be supported. So that's why this scenario was designed. Okay. Yeah. Unable to collect hardware hashes from existing Windows 7 computers. If it's virtual machine or a real laptop, so it doesn't matter. So you just cannot collect when you run this PowerShell script. Yeah, you cannot do it, or your vendor cannot do it. So Windows 7, all files were synchronized with OneDrive for Business. Then we go to Configuration Manager Software Center. We run a specific test sequence. You see, it's a deploy Windows 10. It's not in place upgrade from Windows 7 to Windows 10. We will not keep settings, data, etc. We download boot image. Then we reboot our computer. I mean, not we reboot, computer will be rebooted automatically. So we format our drive, logical disk, and we apply our operating system, and then you will see a step copy JSON file. Did you see it? Okay, good. Yeah. And this file, as I told you, is a just exported Autopilot profile, and computer will be contacted to Autopilot. Again, OB process, keyboard, second keyboard, and then boom, your customized page. Yeah, you see specific company logo. So user provides his credentials. Enrollment status page, device preparation, device setup, joining computer to Azure AD or to Hybrid Azure AD. We are syncing data from OneDrive during OB, as you see, and device is ready. User has all required applications from 7-zip and Acrobat Reader to Office 365, and also he has all of his data because OneDrive was configured before the migration. So that's how we did a migration from, let's say, our on-premise infrastructure, from our configuration manager and Windows 7 to Intune, Autopilot, and Windows 10. Okay, roadmap. So I will cover white and glow a bit later, just maybe next slides. Some enhancements for enrollment status page. Yeah. So it will be available for a next release of Windows 10, 1903. So user can choose applications which will block enrollment status page through Intune. So you can say, hey, we have 10 applications, but five of them are required, and before the installation of this file applications, user can do nothing. Yeah. And Cortana will be disabled by default. I don't know why there is no applause. Do you like Cortana, guys? Do you use it? No. No Cortana, no applause. Okay. White and glow. And let me show you, I have a few seconds. So I have a good timing. When I talk about Intune, I mean you have a lot of settings what you can deploy, applications, etc. If you have nothing in your Intune, technically you can use Azure AD or Autopilot, so technically it will work. But if at the end user has just a clean computer, there is no sense. Technically you can send them, you manage this computer, right? Because you have this computer in Azure AD. But if you do not deploy something on this computer, so what's the sense of using Autopilot and Intune? You can in Intune you can configure device compliance policies, so you can check some settings, I don't know, antivirus, firewall, operating system build, device configuration, so you can create some custom settings. You can create restriction settings. You can configure your firewall, antivirus, operating system. You can create administrative templates and deploy it. Yeah. You can create PowerShell scripts and deploy PowerShell scripts. You can deploy applications as well. I have a lot of different types of applications like MSI files, Windows 32 files. For example, I need to deploy Acrobat Reader Pro on my computers, and it's a real Acrobat Reader Pro 2017. The size of this application is about 700 megabytes, and I can deploy it from Intune to my computers. I can deploy applications from Microsoft Store for Business. I can deploy Office 365. Yeah. And when you have this, when you have everything prepared, I mean, when you have the, let's say, the whole system, yeah, with all of pieces of puzzle, it works really good. Yeah. Azure AD, Intune, and Autopilot. So the first step is work with Intune and create objects. Let's say objects, which means settings and applications. What you want to deploy. And VPN profiles, Wi-Fi profiles, scripts, etc. And then you can deploy all of the stuff to your computers, which you will deploy with Autopilot. Okay, white glow, it's a concept. Okay, guys, it's not available now, but it's a concept. So let's imagine you have your vendor which prepares computers for you with fresh Windows 10. He ships, this vendor ships this computer to your end users, to a remote office. So he can choose, I mean, IT guys from vendor sides, they can choose white glow provision option. They need to scan specific QR code. And this QR code says, hey, this computer must be provided for this user with these settings, with this application, so some unique information. So what is the sense of using this this scenario? So if you created a lot of applications like I did, Office 365, OneDrive for Business, sorry, not OneDrive, Acrobat Pro 2017, if you have, I don't know, 50 gigs of applications, what you need to install to your end user computer, so this process can take hours for your end user. Okay, you do nothing, yeah? You remember? You do nothing, just sit and drink wine, yeah? But your user waits half a day of when a computer downloads all of this information from the internet, yeah? From your Autopilot and Intune. So that's the idea of this scenario, is to prepare from vendor sides, not only Windows 10, fresh Windows 10, but applications as well. Applications will be installed and pre-configured. End user, after unpacking this device, just needs to provide the credentials, and that's it. Yeah, he doesn't need to wait for hours. For example, if I have a demo for my customers, yeah, what I do, I deploy 7-zip and I deploy one PowerShell script like "Hello World," yeah, and that's it. And it takes 5 minutes for configuration. But in real life, it might take 15 minutes, 30 minutes, or half a day. So that's the idea of this scenario, to do some steps from vendor, yeah, some additional steps, and do not ask our user to wait for half a day when computer downloads 50 gigs from the internet. And when device is ready, this device can be shipped to your end users. And we have 1 minute for question, or maybe more.